up, witches? I'm Taylar.
And I'm Amber.
And this is Waking Up the Witch.
We're your neighborhood witches, and each week we get together and talk about all things witchy.
We're two curious ladies trying to understand the human experience, but while we do that, we think it's important to honor the people that lived here before us and honor the cultures and traditions that we're being inspired by.
This podcast is about waking up the witch, which means we are learning and growing every day. That being said, we're always open to feedback on how we can do better.
Now, let's go, ghouls.
Here we are.
Had the hottest sex dream about my husband yesterday, and I woke up so horny. He had on the hottest outfit. It was like his hair was a little less curly, so it was like that sexy, wavy, like movie star hair. And then he was wearing this retro button-up shirt with a collar, and it was like long red and orange, but it was like almost a tall tee, and then he had like a white blazer over it. I don't know. And I was like, let's fuck.
Damn. I think you have to go shopping and find this outfit.
I already Googled it.
I love it. Hell
the other day, I also had a dream about an outfit, and I was like, ooh, and I went and put it on. Not good.
Oh, that's a disappointment.
I was like, oh, this seems like it'd be cute, and then I said, that was not cute.
Damn.
Thanks, dream.
Maybe you just have to change something up about it. Accessorize.
Oh, it doesn't fit anymore.
Oh, that would happen. Yeah.
It's from my wedding, and I already don't fit in it. But married life, you just get comfy.
I have gained 20 to 30 pounds since getting married, and I cannot shave it off.
I think that just happens. I always hear my friend Autumn's voice in my head that says, "You're married now, who cares?" Like, yeah, I'll eat that slice of pizza.
I love pizza.
Well, everyone should have pizza.
Mm-hmm. I've been eating, okay, let's get into this, because I think we're going down a road. That's why I'm like, we don't need to fucking have a topic. We're just going to talk, and wisdom is going to fall right out of our mouths.
Even if there's no wisdom, there's other podcasters in town that don't talk with wisdom.
Fuck, no fucking joke, dude. Cheers.
Yeah, lots of men talking to microphones and just say whatever the fuck.
That's
we don't
true.
have to always be so wise and spiritual. We're kind of just goofy, dumb, and funny sometimes, and I love that.
I love that too.
So let's just be that today.
Yeah. So welcome to Waking Up the Witch.
We showed up today with no topic besides wine.
So yeah, we just released episode 8 as of tomorrow in the future, but in the past when
2 guests in a row.
Yeah, so and it's after Thanksgiving, and we just really realized we need a good chill recording sesh. And our Wind Down Wednesday happened. It was our 4th episode, so it's we're not having any format to any of this. It's kind of when we
once a month.
Yeah, when we need
we'll just get
a
together
moment like this.
Connect, goof around.
And we just got new recording equipment, so we needed to have flexibility in testing it out and putting it together, and I'm fucking happy already. I hope for you, listener, it sounds a lot better too. So yeah, back to everyone deserves pizza. We both have had
okay, it's Thanksgiving. It's holiday season. This is a season of fun and gluttony. Is that our word?
Yeah, straight gluttony.
Which can also come with shame and guilt, especially in a society that doesn't allow you to eat food if you're not fucking skinny. Which there's nothing wrong with being skinny either. We're not we don't shame any fucking body type. No. They're all beautiful. But it's hard sometimes.
You all get stuck in your own brains. We do. I think it's a very relatable human experience to have days where you're not feeling your finest, your sexiest, your most ideal shape, weight, feeling, and it's totally normal. And we are both kind of having that experience today, yesterday,
I do think
recently.
mine comes up like once a month. So
Yeah.
it's about like right before my cycle.
Yeah.
And I think that my cycle came early. So then my body's like hella confused.
Did you officially start? Like you're bleeding right now?
No, I'm like spotting.
Yeah.
Some weird's going on.
Yeah.
Are you?
So I started spotting yesterday, which I spot usually like a couple days before.
But it's early for us.
But early, yeah, which is also weird. When you told me that today, I was like, that's strange, because we're like a week early.
Started hers early
and we hang out all the time. So of course, like, being in alignment with our cycles is no news to us. But the past 2 months prior, we were like dead on the 5th.
Yeah,
and it's like a week early now. I'm not full on bleeding, but I'm full on hormonal. My tits hurt so bad. Yeah. I'm having cramps on and off. My body feels very bloated.
I did not get off the couch yesterday. Yeah. And I was like, am I sick? Am I just burnt out? Am I hormonal?
Check. All of the above.
So also, it's like, who fucking cares? Spend a day on the couch.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah.
My house was clean.
That's a good feeling.
I make my money. My businesses ran. Like, why can't I just sit on the couch and watch Below Deck all day?
I love a good day on the couch. Is that like, what kind of show is that? Someone's told me
reality
about that show.
TV. I just started it.
Is it good? I think my friend Cheyenne told me about that show, because I like some good old trash reality TV just to waste some time and honestly stuck in other people's stories. And I think she told me
reality TV right now is Real Housewives of Salt Lake City.
I've never watched any Real Housewives.
It's the only season I've ever watched, and I highly recommend it.
Okay.
There is cult activity. A one woman is under federal investigation to go to prison.
Oh, damn.
And
that's some real good drama.
People leaving Mormonism. They literally left us on like a cliffhanger of one of the girls with a black eye. And I'm like, what happened to Heather? Someone please tell me.
See, you need a good day to waste your time watching some bullshit.
Oh, I wish there was more of Salt Lake City for me to watch. But
is it a current season?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And it comes out every Thursday, but there was Thanksgiving.
Oh.
So
that might have been loud.
Ooh. So they left us hanging. Below Deck is interesting because there's like a crew of workers on a yacht. And then every episode are different like yacht guests that come on. And it's usually rich people getting fucking wasted and then them like taking care of them. But then on their days off, they go into Greece or Croatia or whatever town and get fucking lit. And then they all try to have sex with each other. And it's really interesting. Because, you know, people in the industry all want to fuck all the time. Of course. So,
I mean, we're all animals.
But there's something about the service industry that, like, makes you horny.
Been there.
Just like a bunch of men and women smoking cigarettes, getting drunk, and trying to fuck.
Lots of drugs, too.
Oh, I'm sure these people are probably doing some drugs.
Yeah, totally.
Do you want to talk about what's going on with you? Oh, I'm going to switch gears. Do you want to talk more about your body?
Not so much my body. I think I'm feeling a lot better today, honestly.
Me too.
Yeah.
I woke up this morning, like yesterday, I felt like the fattest person in the entire world, and that I was going to wake up and none of my clothes were going to fit. Guess what? They fit just fine. I'm totally fine. Everything's normal.
I have a question. Did you have gluten?
Some, yeah.
So with my sister being in town, I had like full on, just like, I'm just going to eat. I'm just going to live because like we have all these kids and it's just too complicated right now to do all the things. And then it's Thanksgiving. So I'm just going to eat.
Yeah.
And I'm so sore today. Like my joints I feel so inflamed. I think you have
a different body reaction to gluten.
Totally. I have this like physical reaction to it, this inflammation that happens, but I also think it really fucks with my brain. Like since have experimented without gluten, I think what I'm going to do is probably eat only sourdough and then eat gluten-free otherwise if sourdough is not an option. I maybe try to like make my own sourdough or like support like small, like go into that the mix spot in Ashland. Because I think that is a big part of it for me, because I have the physical inflammation, but I think it makes me visually see myself more inflamed too.
Well, also you have to think about if the inflammation is so much that you're seeing it in your body, your brain is probably inflamed. So it probably affects your memory.
Totally.
And I'm not a fucking doctor.
Totally.
Don't listen to me.
Yeah.
But what
I'm like way more exhausted.
Yeah, what I noticed from like, I've always toyed with my diet and my sensitivities, and then also I like have had stress and things, and it makes me more forgetful. It makes you more irritable. Yeah. It's just like all of it.
Yeah, I think that's something that's going on with me too, and like part of why I was feeling the way I was yesterday and the day before. But I feel a lot better. Like my body hurts really bad today that I'm like, I really need to not eat all the gluten like I had this past week. And I've kind of just been not really focusing on that since my anniversary. When I was like, we're going out for pasta, I haven't like.
You kind of, I think that if you put your foot down is a harsh way to say it, but if you're like, hey, this is my sensitivity and I can't have that, and also holidays are at your house, this is what it is.
Yeah.
Like we've had stuff, I mean, my birthday party, everything was like vegan and gluten free, and it was fucking fire, and like
it was so good.
We just did Thanksgiving at Allison's, nothing had dairy in it, and it was so good. Yeah. And so like,
and there's a lot of, I think for right now it's such a new thing that I've approached.
You are coming in at it though at an amazing time. That's because true. Like, I don't know, I was standing next to some old man at the farmer's market, and he's like, crazy, gluten-free cookies, and he's like, I haven't had gluten in 20 years, and it wasn't like this back in the day. And he's like, you're so lucky to have this
totally outlet. There's so many options now. Like, even I worked in the natural food industry like my whole adult life basically, and even in that time just seeing how expansive the food options are now for any restriction that you have. It's incredible. Like when I was first vegetarian back when I was like fucking 18, 19, I think, we had soy milk, rice milk. I think those were really our only options. And now there's all kinds of fucking milk. Yeah. It's amazing. Okay, so let's pivot. We're done with the body talk.
Oh, let me start from the beginning.
Start from the very beginning. It's a very good place to start.
It's like The Sound of Music.
Oh. I grew up on that shit.
Okay, I didn't, but Meet Me in St. Louis or something. Is that a different musical?
I don't know what that is.
I think it's a different musical.
This is definitely in Germany and Austria during the Nazi invasion.
Oh. So I think that deciding to open a business and like signing the papers October 15th or whatever, 24th, I don't know. It's so fucking tight because you can buy all your equipment on Black Friday for hella cheap, like half price. And then if you don't open till the new year, taxes don't start till the new year. So it's like the sickest time ever.
Yeah, so you get to write all that off for 2022.
Yep.
And then don't have any of that going into it for
and year. Like I used a bunch of my tax money to like buy stuff, which is like that makes sense because it's all write-offs. And I mean, like,
did you get some killer deals?
I think so.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So my salon owner currently has decided to cut the business in half and turn the other half into like a wellness type center. So that means she's getting rid of a bunch of salon equipment. And I'm like, yo,
fuck yeah.
She was like, do you want the shampoo bowl? And I'm like, yes, but also my vision for a shampoo bowl is like way different. So I probably would save
how much is she selling it for?
I don't know, but mine was like almost $1,000. Those are my biggest expense, but I want one with like an adjustable head and feet that kick out.
Yeah, that fits every height and stuff.
Yeah, it's like people don't fit in it, and I had
I've
one at
definitely
my
sat
old
in some
salon.
really uncomfortable ones before that it's just like, you have to, especially with the services that you're doing
where
where
they're
people are
laying
going to
back
be laying there for
forever.
a while.
Yeah. So that would have been tight, but I'm gonna return a bunch of shit and just take it from her.
That's so awesome. That's so fucking awesome.
That's all I need.
Hell yeah.
It's so weird.
You
It's
can
meant
always
to be.
update things
Every
later.
day in the last like 2 weeks has been like I've made the most money.
Yeah, it's like, good job,
making.
you signed it. Here's all your money now. It's all coming to you.
Also, do people remember like 3 weeks ago when I was like, oh my God, all my clients are canceling. I'm going to die and be homeless.
Mm-hmm.
JK.
No, you're definitely not dying. You were succeeding.
I'm your rich
Greatly.
auntie now. And no, you cannot borrow money. Sorry, I have to invest.
Yes, love it. How's your wine? Do you need more?
No, it's great.
I need some more. Will you give me some more?
I did wake up this morning at like 5 a.m. and I did a little workout. It was really fucking easy. And
Which one did you do?
I bought a new app.
Oh, okay.
This one's called Playbook. And so there's a creator on Instagram that I followed for many years. Like, she has kids now that are like 3 or 4 years old. But I followed her before, like way before that. And I love, like, she's done her fitness journey the whole time while pregnant, after postpartum. And she does a lot of like pregnant workouts and postpartum workouts and stuff. And I just really like all of that too. It's not her app. There's like thousands of Instagram and different kind of creators on it. So there's every single type of workout. I did a meditation from this app this morning, like everything. And I really like it so far. It's like $90 for a whole year. And then there's like thousands of creators. I also pay for Beachbody.
So she creates certain things in there along with a bunch of other influencers?
Yep.
That's cool.
Yeah, I didn't even do her workout. I did somebody else's workout. But it was literally like, it was so basic, and I just needed something to like get me to move my body. And I like journaled, and I was like, I promise to just do something, move my body, some way for 15 to 30 minutes a day.
Yeah,
walking, yoga, dancing, whatever the fuck it might be. Yeah, that's all. Will you tell me about the story from the guy that lives in the fucking bathroom?
I brought my sister here. My family was in town this last week. My sister, her husband, and their 4 children.
Your sister knew there was the guy in the bathroom?
No, she didn't know. So my sister and I, we went and did some shopping, and just to like kind of give her a break from being with the family for 24 hours in a small, tiny box.
Did you leave the kids at home?
Yeah, everyone stayed at home, and her and I was like, let's just go get like stuff to cook for dinner and maybe a couple snacks, and then tomorrow we'll do like a better, Thanksgiving shopping trip. But let's just get what we need for today and give you a chance to like go be you with me. So I was like,
fuck you, kids.
Yeah. Well, it was really cute. Seriously. How do you do 4? Wow.
Aren't they kind of far apart though?
No.
Okay, yeah, that's the trip.
So the oldest just turned 16 this summer. The one after that is 14. The one after that is about to be 12 in like a week.
So they're all like 2 years apart.
Yeah. And then I think the youngest is 10.
Hot damn.
He might be 11. So we're out shopping, and I was like, okay, do you want to see my storefront by yourself or with everybody? So she was like, I'd rather see it by myself, honestly, so I can ask the questions. I was like, cool, great, let's go. It's around the corner. So we stop in here, and we're walking around, seeing the place, and we're getting ready to go. And we're in the front room, which is going to be the storefront room.
Yeah.
And she's like, what was that?
The guy.
Please tell me you saw that. And I was like, I started laughing. I was like,
the guy.
I didn't see it, but there's totally one in particular, a very strong presence here, if not multiple presences.
Oh, I have chills
in this space.
I know him.
Yeah. So I told her, I was like, Taylar literally
Dave,
sees this guy,
Jeff,
that stands perfectly symmetrical here in this window in the space, just kind of like hanging out with like a
my eyes are about to start
what's it
watering.
called, the like Monopoly man hat, and I'm like, she sees him and she's like, I totally saw something. I was like, yeah, I mean,
in the middle of the two windows.
I think she saw him like here in the entryway, kind of like, but in that room, so coming into the healing space. So she totally like saw the presence, and we talked about it, and I was like, yeah, there's totally spirits here, and definitely one who's like hangs out in this room and always makes himself known.
He's only in that room. He doesn't come in here. But I don't know. I think this space has been too smudged and like too
lived in.
Well, there's a lot of energy working here, but like not the same type. Like as soon as you walk out of the Claire room,
everything's back over there for sure. Especially, I think a lot over in Mark's side. There's a lot going on over there.
Is the guy in the middle room, and then something in the bathroom. Honestly, when I just went in the bathroom, it's in that fucking corner where the duct is. And when I just went pee, I was thinking, I am safe. I am protected because I'm drinking, and you don't know if something latches onto you.
Yeah.
When you're like drinking wine. So I just peed and was like, I have a bubble around me. You can't touch me. Then I ran out.
You do.
So
that's exactly how you protect yourself.
Yeah, but I can feel my heart racing, and I'm like, they know I'm scared.
It's not like a dog smelling your fear.
Scare anybody. Not to scare anybody is going to come in here and do energy work. That there's a guy in the bathroom.
And so what's also interesting, speaking of this topic, my niece, my oldest niece, she, over the past maybe year or so, has been having these sensitivities and these things happening, and it freaks her out, of course, as it does for a lot of people. And she's been honest with my sister about these things that have come through. So Mel reaches out to me, and, she's like, what would you do? So I kind of help guide her and give her information on things to do and let her know, like, I'm a resource here for you.
Do?
So first of all, like, if you've listened to the episode with Julia, first things first, set your boundaries. Identify how you're receiving the information, how it's coming through, which means, are you seeing things out of the corner of your eye? Are you hearing things? Are you feeling things? Where are you receiving the information in your body? And then identify how it makes you feel. And if it makes you feel uncomfortable, then you need to set the boundary with spirits in general, letting them know that you are not okay receiving information in that way. So as a little kid, I'm sure any way you're receiving information is jarring.
Too much.
Yeah. So, I let her know if she doesn't want,
she doesn't
have to experience that. If it's coming through, she doesn't have to experience that, and she can create that boundary. If she wants to be open, curious about it, but wants to remain safe, this is what I do, is open up the possibilities and let them know, you can be here, but you can't scare me. I will not be scared. You can't scare me. You can't scare anyone that's in this house or this room or whatever. So in my business, spirits, be here, hang out. If this is where you're comfortable, I'm fine with that. And we will chat later on my business hours when I say it's okay. But you are not allowed to scare me. And it's literally just that, like speaking out to them, talking to them, and letting them know what is acceptable for you, what you're comfortable with. And spirits have to listen. They have to.
It's crazy talking to most of our guests, because I think everybody we talk to has like mentioned having that gift and whatever, but most of them, half of them, have been like, I don't want it.
Yeah, because it's scary.
Because I expected everybody to be as curious and like excited and like want to do that like I am. But the last two people we've talked to are like, nope. I don't want to do that. Yeah. I actually set that boundary that I said no.
Well, and I think too, like, one, it's scary and it's overwhelming and it's a lot coming in and out. But I think we overcomplicate it and we think it's all or nothing sometimes. And I believe, like, some ways I'm okay if I see you out of the corner of my eye. I'm okay under certain circumstances if you want to relay messages audibly to me. I'm okay with those things. And when I'm doing energy work on somebody, receiving information through my body in a feeling kind of way, like having tingles, or like I don't want to feel extreme pain. That is against what I want to feel. However, if you want to indicate something to me through like a little discomfort to show me where something might be uncomfortable for someone, I'm okay with that. But because now I have a boundary with myself and with spirit and with energy to recognize, is this pain or discomfort that I'm feeling mine, or is this somebody else's? And then I get the message yes or no. And if it's a no, it disappears immediately for me. So I literally have, and this has taken me however long. When I first started Reiki, I want to say maybe 4-ish years now. It's taken me that long to be able to control that. I never used to be able to do that. So sure, when you have no fucking clue, I don't want anything to do with that because it's scary and I don't like the way it feels or whatever. So I think a lot of people are in that place and, maybe slightly curious, or they know that it exists out there because they have had experiences with it, but it's scary. They're afraid of it. So not having those boundaries and not knowing how to create the boundaries.
Well, and most of our guests, like, it started when they were kids.
Yeah.
And so they had to be
very scary when you're a kid.
Mm-hmm. Which is the boundary.
Yeah, totally. So just understanding and knowing that you have autonomy over your body and over your gifts.
Right.
You get to set the boundary, and once you do, it fucking works. Like, I have yet to be shown that it doesn't work. For me personally, I've yet to see it be shown that it doesn't work for anyone I've been able to help them create a boundary with spirit. So
I mean, I guess
I don't want to be proven wrong, but I don't think that it's wrong. I think it's that simple. Is just saying, this is what I'm comfortable with and this is what I'm not, and you have to respect it. Okay, thanks. Sincerely yours.
I have something to say.
Okay, tell me.
The fact, like in the middle of what you're just saying, and you having these headphones on and this microphone, I almost started crying. I'm like, I have a witch podcast with a psychic lady. That's one of my best friends, and I'm like, where am I?
You're just like kind of hovering for a minute. I love you.
Whoa.
We have these legitimate mics.
We just look so professional.
Oh, I love it. I love that you just had that experience.
I was just staring at you and I was like, I'm going to let her keep talking because I feel like people need to hear it. But all I can think is like, wow, this is amazing.
I love you and I love doing this. And you're psychic as fuck too. Like, you blow my mind all the time when you say shit.
Yeah, I don't get it yet. But
I don't get it. When I say shit, I don't know. You're fucking putting a mirror to my face right now. And I'm like, oh.
I think
I just said some shit.
Well, obviously, like every guest that we have, I learn more about myself, right?
Totally.
And like Holly talking about reading palms, but being right and just making shit up, like
that just gave me chills. That's like an extra validation,
like, right?
Exactly.
But then it's like there are some people out there that just make shit up.
Yeah.
So like, how do you as like a healer or a medium or a psychic or something, like how do you decipher whether you're just making shit up or not? Because like maybe those people think that they're just channeling, like, do you know?
So one of the first things that
like it's everybody psychic and then these people are just channeling and they're wrong. So
that is a tricky and interesting question because I have like a lot of thoughts coming through my mind right now. One of the first things I was taught in developing my intuition, which getting permission to develop my intuition, came when I started my Reiki journey. I've always been intuitive. I just I didn't know what to do with it. Even growing up with a witch for a mom who's now Catholic.
I mean, like, I know things.
Like, yeah.
I just thought everybody knows things.
I wasn't really super nurtured in learning. Like, it was just kind of like, yeah, go for it. You're doing it. But then one of the things my Reiki teacher taught me was that the information that's coming through to you is important, and it's coming through for a reason, and it's not yours to judge. So the information that's...
So, like, what about these people that, like, they go to a murder scene and they're just, like, spouting off all this stuff? Maybe something means something, but that's...
Well, so the other thing that she taught me is, like, the person who you're sharing this knowledge with, this information that's coming through, it may not make sense to them right away, but most of the times later on, something clicks, and they may not remember, and you may never know. But just and I believe too that every single human being on this earth has psychic abilities. We are born sensitive people. We are born with infinite universal knowledge, and we are taught throughout our lifetimes to shut it down, that we're making stuff up. So our whole lives, especially those who are sensitive and remain sensitive and grow into their sensitivity, we're so confused. We judge ourselves so much because we have been taught that we're having make-believe all the time. And then that's really what you need to lean into when you are channeling messages. And sometimes people are wrong, and that is okay too, because you're not going to know everything.
But also, like, your strengths may be in one area and not in another.
Well, and that's why I've said before, like, I struggled with claiming to be a psychic. I still struggle with claiming to be a psychic, because
it is a very big word.
It's a big word, and in our society, in our world, psychic comes with a lot of baggage. One, it's like, okay, you're cuckoo. But the big thing is, when people hear that you're psychic, then you are expected to perform. You're expected to know every single fucking thing and have all the lotto numbers, and to be able to tell them what just happened, what they did, and what they ate for breakfast that day. Know. And that is just not what being a psychic is. However, exactly, I do believe there are some people who have those abilities to be able to do that. And so psychic is so much more broad than what we've been taught.
Yeah.
And so for me, being psychic, I'm fucking playing make-believe. Like, that's literally, like, that is like what I'm doing is, and I'm removing the bullshit. I'm removing the ego. I'm removing the walls. I'm opening myself up and asking for my guides to come through to use me as a channel with the person I'm working with to just bring in whatever is meant for them right now for their highest good and the highest good for all. And that is what I'm doing. I'm just releasing any expectation for myself and trying to help the receiver to do the same, so that we can just be in this open space to allow for this information to come through and to be received. And I had no fucking clue what I was doing. I was so insecure when I first started doing it. And I was like,
how long have you been doing it?
Like a year and a half. Yeah. Like, truly. Like
you said, okay.
Yeah, like, that was when I was like, okay, I'm accepting this and I'm working with this information. However, like, I was doing this way before. I just didn't know I was doing it. But, like, literally feeling like I had some actual guidance and something to work with. It's been like a year and a half. And
which is
it's a short amount of time, which is crazy to think back on too, to be like, okay, girl, you're fine. You're like, well, because you expect yourself to be like,
what's crazy is I met you in February, which means, or January.
I think February. Yeah.
Which means that had only been like 6 months.
Yeah.
And you were like, I'm a psychic medium.
I was practicing in the real world, telling people who I was and
You're like,
trying
I
not
might
to
never-
get rejected.
I might never see this girl again. I'm just going to say it. And then I was like, oh, I want to be friends with her. And in my mind, I'm thinking, everybody always tells me I'm psychic. Maybe she can help me figure it out.
Mhm.
Which, like, I didn't actually think you were going to help me figure it out.
See what happens when you just like release the judgment of yourself and release the ego and just allow yourself to fucking be who you know true in your heart.
I
who you
also
are.
think that there's like a stigma in my mind that anybody in the spiritual community doesn't like to drink wine or like do the things that I do. So that's why I was like, so what do you like to do for fun?
Cheers.
I need more. And like, not that I have to drink. Honestly, I'm enjoying not drinking more.
Mhm.
For me, as somebody with like social anxiety, going to a winery is like, it's so fucking beautiful out here. And like, the wine is so good and just like break down some walls and barriers. Like, also, I'm trying to learn what people do not doing. I don't really want to go on a hike with a stranger. Like, that's not how I want to get to know you. I don't want to be sweating my ass off. Like, hey, so where'd you grow up? Okay, cool.
That's
R.I.P.
funny. I think me and Melissa's like one of our first hangouts outside of that first date when we all three met up was a hike. It was,
which is fine.
Yeah, but that was date 2. That was friend date 2.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
it was like,
and
I'm
I
so
like
happy
to hike. There's
to
no
have someone to hike with.
Yeah.
It's kicking my ass. So where did you grow up from?
Well,
even
even just like
ramble, but
even just me telling a couple of my friends, like after we did our channeling session and like talking to friends about that, they're like, I had a couple of people be like, oh, like I'm really interested in that. Like I really want to do that. And it's just like, yeah, we all have this within us. I honestly think my sister listens to this podcast, but like I think,
hey girl,
I come from a family of powerful witches, and I think that she has it in her too, and that it's just this like untapped, insane thing. And both of our sisters went to school to do massage. Does your sister massage?
No, she doesn't anymore. Her arthritis is just way too bad, but she is a phlebotomist right now.
Oh yeah.
And about to go to school this year to become like some cool doctor scientist lady looking through. I'm sorry, sister. I don't know what it is, but it's so cool. You're going to be a doctor scientist looking through the microscopes and doing cool shit.
Lab lady. Well, it's crazy to think like, so my sister went to massage school when I was like in cosmetology school, and like it was called the Healing Arts Center. So my little sister was doing like healing work and energy work way before I ever was. And it's like, she said she didn't keep doing it because like the things she was going through in her life were so fucked up that like she didn't feel like
you're literally putting that energy onto other people.
Well, yeah,
like you're touching people and you're also soaking up whatever they're there to release too. It's a lot.
Just like, it was just too much, and like my living situation was crazy. Which, like, honestly, a lot of massage therapists live in chaotic lives.
Yeah,
same with hairdressers, and it's just like you're putting all of that juju into your people, and they feel it. They know.
Totally. I think that's. I mean, if you are a provider of some sort, like a service provider, if you were touching people, it is most important for you to have self-care practices and grounding practices more than anybody else, because you are touching other people and through touch, it is such a quick and easy transfer of energy to people. So you are literally like putting in your energy to people. So if you're a cook too, like if you are playing with people's food and serving food to them, like it is so important to have like I think about this when I'm cooking breakfast or something.
There's
and I'm like
so
pissed
many
off
angry
about
chefs.
fucking dishes. And I'm
All
like
chefs are
cooking eggs and
angry.
I'm pissed off about dishes.
Not
And I'm
all
like,
chefs.
but a lot are,
of
yeah,
chefs
like,
are angry.
like
and they're cussing out their
like
wait
literally
staff.
anyone you do, your energy, no matter what kind of service you provide, your energy is seeping into your work and people will feel it and we receive it, and it can be dangerous. And then also, secondly, if you are a service provider and you're touching people, you're also receiving other people's energy. So it's super important to have these grounding practices and these self-care practices
yourself
to protect your energy and release the energy after being with people. One thing I do immediately when I'm like working with someone is I always say in my head or out loud. I say out loud with people I'm close with, but if it's a stranger client, then I'd say in my head, like, what's yours is yours and what's mine is mine.
I do like when you say that.
And it's just like our energy connection is complete here, and I don't want to take any of your shit.
You disconnect our energy.
I mean, our energies are always connected.
No, keep it all.
You. But I don't want to carry around your bullshit either, and you don't want to carry around my bullshit. So, like, we can share and be friends with each other and help support each other with our bullshit, but we don't have to carry it.
Yes, I understand.
Because then we're both just idiots carrying
and being codependent.
I love you. I will rub your back while you carry your bullshit.
Thank you.
But I'm not going to carry it for you. I got my own heavy bags to carry.
I don't have that much bullshit anymore.
I know, because you're good at healing yourself.
It's been so fast and crazy pants.
I feel like that's very Scorpio energy too, just to be like, elevator up. So yeah. What else?
I think like it felt like just being away from each other for a week felt like a fucking month.
It felt so fucking long.
It's like I feel like I was making all this like forward progression, and then you get into the routine of holidays and family and all these things, and you kind of fall into like old habits, and then you get feeling weird, and like I feel like I'd lost a lot of like practices that I'd been doing weekly, and like got all weird, and we were supposed to record yesterday, but I like couldn't get out of bed, and that's the first time for me in 9 weeks that's happened, which is huge because like Mondays have been a day for me that like I will hide away from the world and like be reclusive and sometimes get a lot done and sometimes not, and so I think that it's making me realize how important this has been for like my mental health and my spiritual growth and like all of that, and I'm just super grateful for it. And like, yeah, I don't know. I felt maybe not lost. Like I didn't feel lost, but I felt the absence of what we're doing.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree. And I was in like a whole different place yesterday too. So when you're like, I'm not feeling well, I'm like, that's my sign that I also need a day to just like do self-care, which literally I think last time or the time before we were talking about that, and like how I literally haven't done like shit for myself in a while, and really fell out of practices and fell out of self-care, and everything just kind of felt like go. And it wasn't even the holidays yet. It was just like all the shit was happening. And yesterday gave me that opportunity to take time for myself and get back to my journaling practice and get back to like other things that are important. So you texted me, you weren't feeling great. I was feeling like in my feelings. I was having a weird day, just like having these resurface.
Also, like yesterday and today's energy has been so fucking weird.
Yeah,
I don't know what's going on.
I like, is it Mercury time? I don't know. Like
everybody at work
Danielle, tell us.
Fucking chaotic, and like the vibe was so weird.
No, not till January. There's like literally
Something.
Danielle, it's what's happening in the stars. Please
Help.
tell us. Something's got to be going on right now. Yeah, I was having these triggers. It was the night before last night when it happened, but I haven't had issues in a long time with this, but this old pain from my old friendship was coming up, and I was having these like old feelings resurface. And like, we've talked with our own stories and stories of a lot of our guests, like a lot of your like spiritual torpedo comes from heartbreak, whether it's a romantic relationship or friendship or family experience, whatever. There's always like this big like earthquake that happens in your life that kind of shakes you, and then you're left with like, who am I now? What am I doing now? And for me, it was this relationship with my friend who I've been friends with for 17 years and just got ghosted one day.
Which is insane.
Crazy.
And also, like, really fucked up. Like, grow up. I don't know. Like, I'm glad that happened. I'm sorry to say I'm glad that happened to you.
I'm
but also,
so glad
like,
too.
as a human being, as uncomfortable as communication is and can be, it's so important. Even if you want to break up with somebody, you need to give them closure and let them know why. Like, that's not...
Well, and honestly, like a lot
she
of
knows
problems,
why, but you don't know why.
I have like inklings, but they're not like, I wouldn't
You don't know her story.
Exactly.
Like, you don't know
I know
why.
my side of the story. I own up to my shit that like perpetuated the situation. But like, honestly, in a lot of situations, if you just decide to not communicate, you're really creating a much larger disaster that like probably isn't even necessary.
The person on the other side is always going to make up the other half of
all
the
I can
story.
do is assume.
And that's typically not what's true. It's what's true to them, but it's not what's true.
It's how I can perceive things.
And so it's like ghosting somebody or not answering someone just leaves so much room for interpretation that may not be what you want it to be or whatever. That's been one of the biggest issues. I don't think I've dealt with it in a long time because I've made my circle really small of people, but like I used to panic when people didn't answer because I just was like make up all these fucking stories in my head and because I was fucking traumatized. And it's like, but ghosted by a friend of 17 years is the most, like, you'd think that you killed like a family member of hers. Yeah. Or like ran over her dog or something. Like, those are the only two situations, I think. Or like fucked her boyfriend.
Yeah, which I fucking didn't do.
So those are like the only three situations that I can imagine that were like harsh enough for her to just like block your number, never answer, never speak to you again. And like, you reached out to her, right? And you were like,
we had
hey, love me. What's wrong?
A lot of back and forth for like a year almost before I was like, she's just feeding me bullshit and keeping me on a line. So it wasn't like a
solid ghost. It was like a just stopped coming around.
Kind of.
And would make up excuses.
It was like it was a lot of excuses. A lot of excuses and a lot of like,
and then finally
me too. And
like,
I have this coming on and so I will, and then wouldn't. Like empty promises after empty promises. And really fucked up. Like, so... I call it ghosting because it was like all of a sudden there was an issue that I also apologized for because I knew I knew something was going on and I knew that.
But
like,
also,
did
you
something.
know that you did something wrong? Or were you apologizing because she was uncomfortable?
Both. Like, I didn't do anything terrible. I just was reacting to a situation that wasn't like my finest hour, but it wasn't also like the worst fucking thing. It's not something you stop talking to somebody that you've been best friends with for 17 years.
I just also know
has done
like,
so much for you emotionally and physically and financially and all of the things.
I just know it was like being a young woman that's like a people pleaser. I have apologized
Me too.
over and over and over just to make a situation
more comfortable.
More comfortable.
Yeah.
And it's like, I knew I didn't do anything wrong, but I said sorry because I just wanted that person to love me or the issue to go away. And like, they weren't apologizing.
I was sorry for how I made her feel.
Of
like,
course.
I wasn't sorry necessarily for what I did because I think it was valid and my emotions were raw and real. But I was very sorry, genuinely sorry for how she felt from those actions. And I did want to heal the relationship and figure out what was going on and work together to fix whatever we needed to. And she was like, yeah, me too. And maybe in a little while, I just need some time, blah, blah, blah. And like, literally never, I was always the one being like, okay, it's been 5 months. How about now?
How long ago was this?
I really have totally lost track of time. And I always try to think it's been like, I think 4.5 years. It's been a long time. And like, the first year was really brutal. And hey Joey, here's your mention. Joey was literally, I mean, I have a lot of friends who supported me tremendously through that experience, but Joey was literally my like every single day person, and he was still really good friends with her. And he's a Libra. He's such a neutral, balanced person that he was able to like listen to me. He also didn't talk shit about her, and he didn't go off and tell her what I was saying and vice versa, because she also leaned on him going through whatever it was. So he knows all the secrets. He knows both sides, and still to this day, I don't know her side because Joey, and they're not friends anymore. That was like 20. So I think he's hitting his 2 years almost of not being friends with her. But yeah, even still to this day, even though they're not friends, he still doesn't tell me her side. And not that I want him to. I don't need him to do that. It's not his job to do that. But he just was a really good friend to like be there for me, and someone who knew us both really, really well. So anyways, I was having these emotions come up again about her, and like having these triggers and just like these open wounds. And it's like a lot of work I've done over the years to heal this relationship and really find my own closure. And that's something that I think is important, because as much as it's not fair that I'm not getting the closure, or that these situations happen to us as humans where we don't get closure from the other person, we're still put in positions where that's not going to happen, and we have to take it upon ourselves to find our own closure. And for me, I was really in the stuck place, literally stopping and waiting and like not moving forward in my life at all, period, because I was waiting for her to call, like for months and months and months and months, like waiting for the day when we would be okay again.
What did the trigger yesterday make you feel like, though?
So it was like a lot of just like this
not worthy.
Yeah. So one of the things I did was like I went in some deep like shadow work journaling, doing the why. Like I'm having this feeling, and I would journal it out. This is what I'm feeling. And then I'd get to a stop point, and then I would write why. And then I would go. And I just like,
that's what this girl shadow does. But why?
Yeah.
But why?
It was so incredibly helpful. Like journaling is so important. And so one of the reasons I wanted,
asking yourself, why do I feel this way? And then you answer it and you're like, but why?
But why? And you just go deeper.
And then you say, and why?
I've journaled for like 8 pages, I think, in my book, like for so long. And I think it's really like, I wanted to talk about this one because on our podcast, we are very pro vulnerability, very real, very raw.
I will say anything on this podcast as long as it doesn't hurt someone else in my life. Like, I'm very open.
Yeah.
And I'll put anything out there as long as it's not putting someone else in
100%.
my life in a vulnerable place that they don't want to be in.
Exactly. Agree. Like, that would never be our intention, to hurt somebody or make them feel uncomfortable.
Right.
But we also are very real human people with real human experiences.
And the only way you connect with people is by being honest. Yeah. And like both of us in our work like, we touch people, we exchange energy, and, like, I talk to people. I talk to, I don't know, 4 to 6 typically women a day, and, like, exchange all this. And I used to not talk about myself to clients, but since I've been, like, my own business owner, I have opened up more, and that makes people more vulnerable. Just, like, not comparing stories and not being like, oh, well, I've also done this, this, and this, but, you know, just, like, letting them know they're in a safe space or whatever.
Yeah, and I think by you opening yourself up gives the other person permission to open up a little bit more. And ultimately, as humans, especially when we're having experiences in the real world, getting our hair done and, you know, doing these things, like, we want to see ourselves in other people, and we want to know that our experiences aren't necessarily unique completely. Like, of course we want things to be unique, but, like, our pains,
with this podcast,
it's
all about relating.
Yeah, we want to know that we're not alone. That's what I'm trying to say, is, like, that other people experience
makes you
hardships.
Feel safe. And, like, not fucking weird, like, in a outcast way.
100%. And when you're going through these hardships, these hard experiences where you are left vulnerable and raw, like, you feel so alone and isolated. And so
even if you're surrounded by a bunch of people that love you, like, your brain tricks you that, like, you are alone, and it's just you, and that's,
you just hyper focus on the situation, and it's totally a normal human brain thing. And so silly brain. So I wanted to open up about that here and talk about that, and not just to share that I've had this experience, but to share how did I work through that yesterday, because I think that's what's important. Because yes, we all get stuck in these situations, but I literally feel so much better today, and it's because of the self-care day I got to have yesterday, which I'm so grateful for. And so, like we were saying, journaling, for me, I know it's not a healthy way for everybody to release.
No, I think most people
but
need
I
to
think
try it.
Most people need to try it. Absolutely. You need to give it a try, because
I have something.
Okay, say it.
Jonah Hill made a documentary with his therapist and put it on Netflix. Did you watch it?
No, but I really want to.
Holy,
is it so good?
I have goosebumps right now. Holy fucking shit! What a powerful, beautiful, incredibly intense talk about vulnerable thing.
Wow.
Like, holy fuck!
I'm gonna have to watch it.
It's so intense and it's so beautiful, and, like, everybody needs to watch it. It was wow.
I think that's amazing that he did that, and because the focus on mental health is
increasing,
still very new, like, in recent years.
It's a millennial thing.
It is a millennial thing, but it's also, what's the generation after?
X. No, before?
No, like Z. So I think it's more them, and we all are just like, yeah, buddy, let's go for a ride. Or maybe it's a blend. I don't know.
I mean, so you have to think, like, Gen X raised us, and then the millennials and Gen X have raised the Gen Z, and then you also have to think about the timelines we're all being born, like the astrology thing I sent you. I think that nobody talks about Gen X. Literally nobody they're like boomers, millennials, and Gen Z.
So true.
Everybody leaves out, like, my mom.
They're
and
probably
your
the most uncomfortable. Like, we kind of have more permission, where they really were like, we don't talk about anything.
Well, my mom and my dad have both told me how they feel about their own mental health, but they've also explained to me that they wouldn't feel necessarily comfortable talking to, like, one of their friends about it. They're like, oh, we don't talk about this. But then you go to, like, the boomers, like my grandma's generation, she's like, that's not a fucking thing. Fucking suck it up, bitch.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, wow.
So you fell, like, on your face, shake it off.
Yeah. So it's like like, it goes from fucking suck it up to, like, we acknowledge you, to we feel you, to, like, we're living in it, basically.
Oh, I love that. Did you get that for somewhere?
No, I just
come out of your brain. That's so, like, spot on.
It's just what That's just what I think about. This week's wine pour goes to Curtis Burgess.
So the openness of mental health is very new in recent years, where the world around us is being more vocal about mental health issues. And
do you think mental health's getting worse? And that's why people are talking about it?
Absolutely. I mean, like, so much is going on in the world and we're so overwhelmed and we're so scared.
Don't you think stuff's always been going on in the world?
Yeah, we're just talking about it now. And
do you
we're
think
sharing
that people are more stressed and overwhelmed because they are because they have access to so much information so quickly that our brains can't process it, and so we almost sit in like a analog spot? Because
I mean, we've been raised in the 24-hour news cycle, like,
but it's worse now. Now it's like a 24-second news cycle. Like, in 1 full minute, you could check your Instagram messages, check your Facebook messages, check the news, check
Twitter,
everything. Like, scroll through a whole TikTok. You can do all of that in 1 minute.
And
what
then
do you think that does to your brain?
Like, that's been another thing this week, I think, too, is like, I want to be informed enough, but I don't want to, like, be sucked into the craziness of the world all the time. Like, and I've tried to teeter on this balance, and sometimes I have to totally pull away, and sometimes I go full on, like, the world is burning. I feel like I am usually pretty good on a balance, but literally the past 2 weeks, so many people have died. There's been so much gun violence. Like, and I know this is always happening, and like, we just kind of were
see, like, I actually didn't.
You like took a week off from the craziness
I haven't been
of the
paying
world.
attention to that, so it's like I
don't know why I was, or like,
I mean, I know about the nightclub.
Yeah,
and
I think that kind of started
Colorado
it for me, because I was when we had recorded last week, the Club Q in Colorado Springs, the shooting had happened there. And it's another one of those, like, close to home things. It's an attack on the queer community.
I mean, like, literally, you just moved
that
here
was
from
an
Denver,
hour away
and
from
like
where I
some
lived.
of your friends are gay men. Like, that could have been anybody you knew.
Exactly.
You're
like,
really lucky it wasn't.
Close to home. And this, I'm just so sick of it. And I know a lot of people are. And then it's crazy too, seeing like we just voted not too long ago. And yeah, I mean, and so that had happened. It's close to home.
Yeah.
It's so sad. I read this article about one of the bartenders who had died, and just like how he was like this super giving, loving person, and like of course, yeah, it's always like the best people in our fucking world. And he had, like, throughout the pandemic, like, people who lost their jobs or things were going on, they were having these downfalls, and he would take them grocery shopping and buy all their groceries, and like throughout the entire pandemic, like, helping people. Like, one of the most incredible human beings anybody would be lucky to have in their life. And he would have helped this man that shot him if he needed it. Like, if that man would have came to him and been like, hey, I don't have any money, he would have been the guy to help him. Exactly. But he didn't fucking know that, because you're not. Speaking of that, the fucking asshole who did all of this damage, reading about how his dad was happy that he was the shooter and not one of the gay men in the bar. Did you see that? No. And I was like, who? The shooter's his dad was happy that his son wasn't one of the gay people, that he was actually the one who was doing the shooting. Like, what the actual fucking hell? How that happened. No, exactly. But oh god, so it's breeding all kinds of fucked up shit. Yeah. So I don't know how we got there, but we were just talking about being on, like,
the news cycle and like how you and like have divulged in it in the last week and a half, and I kind of
I was like just like so much shit was going on. So like I think I was on overload already this week, just like sensitive. My period's definitely coming. My boobs hurt so bad right now. And then eating all this food is just like in my brain, in my head. And then this fucking old friendship decides to creep in too and create this
Didn't you
anxiety.
do your own past life regression?
Yeah. So part of my like healing and like what I wanted to talk about.
By the way, we haven't talked about this because it was like save it for the podcast.
Yeah. So it's in that demonic voice.
Save it for the podcast.
So I came to the office yesterday and I wanted to kind of...
Oh, you did it here?
Yeah. So I came here and my plan was I was going to do some stuff for my shop and like I'm working on getting a lot of the new items in and stuff. And then I wanted to try to set up our podcast stuff and kind of know how to work it so that we could be a little bit more ahead of the game today or whenever we would record again. And I was going to just dive into all these things that needed to be done. And I was like, no, you feel weird still. You did this journaling, you're feeling better, but like, what if you did your own past life regression?
Is this your first time?
Yeah. So I've never done one on myself before. I know that it's possible. I've always wanted to do it on myself.
That's so cool.
But I decided, and so with this friendship, she's a person who we knew, we talked about regularly while we were friends. Like, we definitely have had past lives together. Like,
yeah, just because you had a past life with somebody doesn't mean you have to have this life with them.
Or, yeah, and to like remove myself from my human for a second and to know that what we went through was part of our contract, you know?
Yeah.
So I decided stop worrying about all the things that need to be done because what's important is your mental health and your feelings, and you're given this opportunity to be with yourself and heal this. So I lit some incense and like put on some good music and set my table right in front of the heater. And
Did you lay on your table?
I laid on my table, the whole thing.
You actually gave yourself.
I straight up
like
gave
a
myself
client experience.
Yeah, I like did all the things and I laid down. And
did you talk out loud?
I did some of it. I was kind of trying to figure out like, should I do that? And like, would that pull me out of it or whatever? And so I did a little bit of both.
Be both people. Like,
I called in my higher self and just asked her to like be my friend and my guide. Like, you know, when I do a past life regression with somebody, I am with them on the journey and I let them know.
I think I could do it for you.
I think you could too.
I kind of hypnotized Kurt.
I can teach you all of the things that I know about it.
I think I could teach myself. I think I could do my own thing.
I think you could too. Absolutely. I would love that. That would be so fun.
What if, is this like a kind of thing you can play with, or is it like don't play? I mean, Dolores Cannon made up her own thing. Why the fuck can't I make up my own thing?
I've taught you enough to.
I've also had it done by multiple people.
Yeah,
like it's not.
And the space, like what ultimately matters, no matter what you're doing and energy work, you're protecting yourself and the client and the situation and creating like a safe bubble to do the work in. Number one,
as long as it's love and light, and I'm just a guide. Like, why couldn't I facilitate? Okay, what's up? You want to do this sometime?
Yeah, okay. Totally.
Anyway, sorry.
So I laid down on the table. I called my higher self, and I talked to her, and I could see her, and I was really focusing on like visualizing like myself, like seeing myself, which is always so hard. I mean, she looks like me, of course. I saw her in this like white flowy dress and just like kind of angelic, but also like sassy, like kind of queenie. And I've connected with her before, but I really focused on like, you are my friend, you are my guide. And like, I need to see you. Like, when I'm working with somebody, I'm like, I'm with you. You can visualize me. You look at me. You know what I look like.
Why did
But
I
looking at yourself and seeing yourself like having a twin, basically.
Why did I just hear her grab your hand and say, "Come on, Barbie, let's go party," and then like running off into like a field?
That was my first CD. Santa Claus brought it to
I
me.
Imagine like you and your higher self like frolicking in.
Totally. I mean, she was all like, her makeup was so fucking bomb. I'm like, can you teach me? Like, she was super bedazzled and cute. Totally.
So weird that just came into my head.
That's just my theme song. That's all.
I'm channeling. Okay,
yes.
That's
so
what I hear.
We went forward on this path, and she took me to like this hot
It's
spring.
probably because you put me in one of those fucking Barbie cars when you took me on a.
That's right. We did go for a cruise.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. It's all coming back now. It's like subliminal. But.
That's so funny. It's always a little different, so I don't always know or remember exactly. But we did go on a cruise. Did we go to the beach?
Yeah.
Yeah, we went to the beach. Badass.
Cool. Sorry to interrupt.
That's okay. So she took me to like a hot spring before we go to the Cave of Wonders. And I just made that up, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know
You've been
mean.
there. So we went to like this hot spring.
Is it not always a wishing well?
It's, for me, it's always a wishing well.
Okay.
Yeah. I've never called it the Cave of Wonders until right now.
But it is.
But it basically
Yeah.
is. So before that, she took me to a hot spring where we just did like this cleansing. And so like my higher self was giving my now body Reiki and like cleansing through and moving this energy and just like readjusting everything before we embarked on this experience. And that was like really beautiful. And I think I kind of like passed out a little bit, which is interesting because I'm like giving myself the session at the same time, but was alert enough. So it was kind of this out of body thing.
You're like almost in a dream, but not.
But not asleep. Mm-hmm. It was really wild. And then, so after that, like dried up real fast. And then we walked to the wishing well. And I was looking at myself, and it was kind of like this like cloudy, murky water, like my reflection. It was gray, like almost like black and white screen kind of thing, like very dimmed out, which is such a theme with this friendship. And I went in with the intention of like meeting her and healing this. So it was very particular. Like I knew I was going to find her. And we get into my past life door of choice, and we get in there, and I see her, and I don't remember exactly what happened at first, but I just remember like feeling all of a sudden like I was spinning in a blender with her. Like it was like this tornado that was going on, and all the shit was going on, and I couldn't like think or settle into what we needed to do. Like everything just felt very chaotic, like a blender. Like we were in this blender. And so I was like, no, bitch, we're not doing this. I'm not getting caught up in the fucking bullshit. We're not doing this. That's not why I'm here. And so I stop it. And I like literally see us like being poured out of a blender with like all this weird pink, like cotton candy pink stuff around us. Then it kind of became like an alley with lots of like brick and darkness and like dumpsters and stuff. And we were like trying to have an exchange, and I could feel my ego kind of getting in the way a little bit here, like having a hard time figuring out this experience and what needed to happen. And so then this is when I started speaking out loud, like talking to her. I was like, maybe if I start to talk, I can begin to have an energy exchange with her. And I think in a past life, like she was a lover of mine, and she was a male lover who had a lot of dominance over me.
Why it was cut short again, like because not all relationships last.
Yeah,
forever.
I feel like it was kind of a repeat, you know, in a way. And
Like her having the upper hand.
Yeah, like she was in total control of everything in my life, and like I could feel like my light dimming, which is a feeling that I felt a lot around her in this lifetime. But she it's so weird because we were always like trying to shine each other's lights, and it just, I don't think she was ever actually trying to shine mine. I was really good at shining hers.
You literally are light.
That's what I'm told. That's what came through for you when you're reading for me. It's like I am a light, and it's so easy to like overgive that light, and that's what I did with her. And so then what I did was envision myself like almost like these spheres of light coming outside of my body, like I was a sunshine beam basically, and all this light was just like beaming out of me, and through that I grew bigger and bigger and bigger, and she grew smaller and smaller and smaller. And so I just kind of like took back my fucking energy from her and just had this whole exchange where it was like,
you took back your light.
Yeah, I brought it back, and then I fucking stomped her like a bug.
Sorry, girl.
And then I was like, all right, are we done here? And so then I exited the past life and went back out and like saw my reflection again, and was just like, I could see in color again. I could see the vibrancy. It was really powerful, interesting walking myself through something like that, but I did it, and it really helped.
Interesting because I feel like the past life regressions, they're also different. So like there's all these different authors that talk about like meeting the soul in the soul place. That's like the big money making books that are out. Like Dolores Cannon, the Many Lives, Many Masters, the Soul's Journey, like all those books. But nobody, like none of the big money books are talking about like where you go in your other lives. And I think that the past life regressions, so like the one you did and the one I did with you, didn't feel like actual past lives that I've lived, but like the ones that live inside of me. I don't know how to really explain that. And then like the one I did with
It's like
Celeste,
a computer program in your soul. You don't think so?
No, yeah, like okay. Definitely, like
that's how I think of it. It's not like walking around.
Well, no, and then like the one I did with Celeste, it was like 2.5 hours long, and like I actually went to very simple, very basic past lives that were just like, yeah, like I was a girl in this place, and I was a man in this place, and like I did this.
Oh,
I did
you like
that.
got to see all those details of.
Yeah, I went to like 3 lives, and they were really. Some of them were beautiful, some of them were hard. And then when I went to a past life regression with you, it was like this insane, intense leveling up in like a spiritual way. Like, I don't know if did I talk about it on here?
You briefly mentioned when we talked with Celeste, I think, about the like book.
Yeah, I don't really know what else to say besides that. It was just like, it wasn't me just being a girl in a house with like shitty parents and a bunch of fucking screaming kids and then like dying on a deathbed with only my kids. I will say that like having my past life regression with Celeste was solidified me wanting kids with children or kids with Curtis because the only people that were there with me on my deathbed in my 2 lives were my kids. Aww. Like it wasn't ever my husband's, and that's when I was like, I'm gonna have children because before that I didn't want to. And so it was like really crazy to have that experience because your parents will die and your friends will die and your husband will die and like you will only maybe have your children and your kids might die and maybe your grandkids and who knows with the climate and robots and stuff. But like
I think that's when I decided, like, okay, I could fuck around and have a couple kids.
Oh,
But like the past life regressions with you are much more like a leveling up of the soul and not necessarily going back to relive a mundane life. And I think both of them were really intense for me, and like both served purposes, but they're very so different.
Yeah. I always think like I've wanted to kind of relabel what my past life regression is, because I think a lot of people do expect
that. Yeah.
Like, who was I? What did I do? And what did I learn? And I can do that too in a past life reading. I offer that. But my sessions, it is like about soul reclamation. It's about finding, like,
why don't you call it that?
Yeah. Like, that's really ultimately what you're doing. Like, almost every single time you're,
I don't think I would
reclaiming
call
a piece of your
past
soul.
life regression at all. Not to like simplify what you're doing. I just don't think they're the same thing.
No, it's not the same. It's very different. It is very much like, it is going into your past, into your soul's memories, and receiving information or literally reclaiming parts of yourself.
A book of my whole entire, like, fucking, who knows, my like Akashic records or the universal secrets or like my whatever, like, what the fuck?
And ever since so then, crazy. How has your life been?
Way different, ma'am. Completely different life. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm just saying that now that you've said that, I don't think I would call it a past life regression.
I have had some, like, we do go into past lives and we do discover some of that information, but it always ends in an energy exchange and reclaiming something.
And the person that taught you went into something in your current life and not a past life.
Yeah. So, but it was healing a soul contract, basically.
I think we need to rename it.
Yeah. I think so too. I think more people would book
a soul reclamation.
Yeah, this is something that's been nudging at me for a long time, and I just haven't like sat and meditated on it enough to figure out what it is.
Talking to a microphone.
This is meditation for sure.
It's healing,
and then it's that reminder of like, oh yeah, I said that thing. Maybe I should do that.
Yeah, I also think you should do a session with Celeste just to see what that's like, because it is so different.
Yeah, I definitely would love to do that with her. I want to work with everyone we've talked to.
Well, yeah.
One day I will.
I know. I agree.
So ultimately, sharing all of this, like, self-care is so fucking important, and it comes in so many different types, different forms, different ways, and it's so important for us to take time for ourselves, to journal, to sit and meditate, to get out and ground and go walk and to work out and to do these things that are for ourselves and nobody else.
Yeah.
We give ourselves away.
I also think you should give yourself permission to do nothing.
Yeah.
At some point. And
absolutely.
If you do need to stare
that's self-care
mindlessly at below deck for 12 hours and not think about yourself or your life or your like job, it's one day. Like,
yeah,
as long,
it's also important.
Even if you are blowing off a couple of responsibilities, like, it's okay. I don't want to say don't let yourself stay in bed for like a week, but just be gentle with yourself. Everything is fucking fake. Everything is made up.
Yeah.
There are no real societal standards. Nothing that you're told you have to live up to is true.
Yeah.
Don't ruin things in your life if you have a good thing going, but just like be gentle. Mm-hmm. It's okay to give yourself a little bit of fucking grace.
If you're overwhelmed, that just means you need it more.
Yeah, and like I know most of our listeners have like kids and they just like can't do that, but like if you could take an hour,
Sit
in the
Set a
shower.
timer. Like,
Book a fucking haircut.
yeah.
Just like a detox haircut. I don't even talk to you that much. You just get to lay in a bowl and I give you affirmations.
Look,
and
I'm best friends with Taylar, and I still got to lay in a bowl with no conversation. It was amazing.
Yeah. It's just like, I don't know. Even if you don't have any money, take an hour just to sit in your car and listen to this podcast.
Go for a walk.
Yeah. Is this us
I don't
trickling out? Are we telling people nice things to do?
Do we have any more?
I don't think so.
Do you have any more?
Mm-mm.
All right. I guess it is that time.
Yeah.
Definitely go for a walk.
If you want to.
If you want to.
It's cold
Sit
out.
on the couch and binge a new season of a show you've been wanting to watch.
Hide in your car from your kids.
Go treat yourself to
I was
that
gonna say go to Target.
Yeah, sometimes that's a good thing. Put your headphones in at the grocery store and just like walk around for a couple hours.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's like
you don't
one of
have to
my
talk to
favorite things
anybody
do.
or acknowledge anybody. You just get to be in your own world and just look at things.
Yeah, just be gentle.
Mm-hmm.
Pet a puppy.
Please pet a puppy.
If you don't like puppies, you don't have to.
Don't listen to this podcast.
I don't always like my puppy.
That's true. Wonton was being such a jerk the other day. It's like, oh, I hate you right now.
Yeah. Glare at a puppy.
What's another good thing? Eat those Thanksgiving dessert leftovers because they're going to be gone soon.
Drink some tea.
Smell nature. Dance in the rain.
Take a shower if you haven't in a couple days.
Mm-hmm. Moisturize your face.
Yeah, I should
It's
probably
thirsty.
do that.
It's real thirsty. It's winter time almost. I think that's a lot of self-care tips for you. Should we do a card pull?
Yeah.
Okay. So before we send you on our way, on your way. Before we send
We're not
you
going anywhere.
before we send you on your way, we can't leave you without a card pull. Wow.
That sounded really hard.
I can't
We
talk.
have to
What
leave that
happened?
because it's wine.
I can't talk no more. I've had some wine. Oh no. I don't know.
Hopefully,
If you're
people think
this
this
far,
is funny.
I hope that you've enjoyed this. Okay, this is perfect. So I'm pulling from Cotton
Does it say, you are drunk?
No, I don't know if that card exists. We can plug it in there and we'll find out.
You're like, not again.
Shit. How'd you know? So our card today for our Wind Down Wednesday is worthiness and receptivity. So I feel like already this is going to be just perfect for kind of our little vulnerability conversation.
You've been giving too much of your precious self, and you're starting to feel the effects. When you simply do for others without asking for anything in return when you're in need, you are teaching others around you that you are simply a vending machine of favors, not flavors, advice, love, and so on. But you're missing something crucial. Even a gumball machine requires a quarter in order to serve up the chewy goodness. What is this book? Now, this isn't to say that you can only do for others when you believe it will benefit you or so you can gain in return. Rather, this card is suggesting that you've forgotten that you're a gumball. I'm just kidding. I didn't say that.
I'm going to joke. I was like, what? What?
Rather, this card is suggesting that you've forgotten that you deserve to receive good things and that you are worthy of letting blessings befall you. That mentality is a surefire way to keep good things out of reach and to keep you in constant service without replenishment. You deserve good things. And they can only come to you when you open your arms and receive them.
You see, like,
it's time
Jack
for
and
you.
Rose from the Titanic.
Receive
I'll
me,
never let
Jack.
go. Oh no. This is going to be so out of context.
No, everyone needs to hear this.
Keep everything in.
This reading that I just
No, it's perfect.
Okay, well, let me finish the last sentence. It's time for you to balance this out and make sure that you give and receive in equal measures. This is a really long affirmation. Okay. I'm going to read part of it. All right, say it with me. I am worthy and deserving of all good things.
I am worthy and deserving of all good things.
I experience the flow of giving and receiving in perfect balance.
What?
I tried to make it short. I didn't even say
long.
the full sentence. I experience the flow of giving.
The flow of giving.
And receiving. In perfect balance. And with open arms. To receive blessings. With ease and grace. Hell yes, girl.
Hell yes, girl.
Thank you, witches, for listening. Don't forget to give us a follow on all the social media platforms at Waking Up the Witch.
Email us everything, all of it, at wakingupthewitch@gmail.com.
And don't forget to do something nice for yourself.
Take your dog on a walk.
Drink some water.
Call your mom.
Brush your teeth.